Hello everybody, happy 2017! I'm filming this on New Year's Eve, but it'll be 2017 when this goes up. Oh, 2016, it'll be a year, you know, that we look back on and maybe one day we'll laugh about it and cry about it. 2016, personally for me, was probably the second worst year of my life after 2015. Not saying it was really like catastrophic, just if I were to rank all the years of my life, I think 2015 and 2016 would be at the bottom, just for personal reasons and family issues and things that are really hard to deal with. But in the grand scheme of the world, my year was not that bad. I mean, terrible things happened all over the world this year, as they do every year. I mean, I also had a lot of highs this year as well. I went to like my first huge, it wasn't huge, but it was an incredible concert by my favorite band, 21 Pilots. Finally, they came to a city a few hours away and I got to see them, and I actually got to see them twice this year. I saw them at X-Fest in September as well, along with other incredible artists that I was really excited about, like the Lumineers, Halsey, The Naked and Famous. July Talk was really incredible. That was awesome. I fell back in love with photography. I had kind of been in this funk with photography for like a year, and I completely grabbed it by the horns and I got back into it this year, even before I got my new camera, and I'm really hoping to take it places. I read some shitty books this year, but I read some incredible books this year. There are 6 books I'm going to talk about, but it's kind of more like 4 books. You'll understand why in a minute. This list is kind of in no particular order. The first 2 books in the Shades of London series by V.E. Schwab. This is Darker Shade of Magic and A Gathering of Shadows. And wow, I've had a lot of problem with fantasy this year. A lot of fantasy I didn't like, but there were 2 fantasy series in particular that blew me away this year, and this is one. This is kind of bridges the gap between YA and adult because it has younger characters and it definitely doesn't have like really mature themes, but it's not YA, I guess. And beautiful covers, beautiful design on these books. I'm so ready for the 3rd book, which is coming out so soon. These are the first Victoria Schwab / V.E. Schwab books that I've read. I'm so ready to read more of her books. I have Vicious. I really want to read this Savage Song. I'm really excited. I think she's going to become one of my favorites. She is kind of, I put her on my favorite author list just because these 2 books are great. They're books where there are alternate Londons, so there's Grey London, Black London, Red London, and White London, and it follows this guy Kel, who's one of the only people who can travel between the Londons, so it's kind of like between the worlds. And it also follows another girl called Lila, who gets mixed up in the story. I'm not going to spoil it. Mouse by Art Spiegelman. I haven't read the 2nd volume yet. This is the 1st volume. It was incredible and kind of blew my mind in a way that I never thought a graphic novel would. It is kind of like a biographical telling of Art Spiegelman's father and his time in war-torn Poland when the Nazis, you know, were out doing their terrible things, and how he and his wife survived that. Art does a great job of trying to help you to understand how that feels. Even though he didn't go through it personally, he portrays his father's story really well. If you aren't a graphic novel person, if you're only ever gonna read one graphic novel, I would say read Mouse by Art Spiegelman. Next is the one book on here I think that I didn't give a full 5-star rating, but it's had me thinking about it and discussing with people things that were in this. All since I read it. This book, I dog-eared the pages, I highlighted, I wrote in it, just because I had to have a conversation with myself about this book. I also talked to my mom and other people about it, and it's just incredible. And it's on My Life on the Road by Gloria Steinem, and I thought it was going to be like a travel memoir. My life on the road, you know? It's totally not what it is, and I didn't even hardly really know of Gloria Steinem until I read this. Gloria Steinem is a writer, an activist, organizer of different things, and a traveler. This kind of is like part memoir, part like feminist text, and a historic. It's kind of recounts like feminism on a historical level, all the way from like the 70s on until, you know, until whenever. She was a leading voice for equal rights, not only for women, but for everyone, you know, because that's what feminism is. But this book, honestly, is the most impactful book I read this year. It's had me thinking about it the most. Feminism is fighting for equality for all parties. It had so much history in it about the US politics, and I'm Canadian, so I don't know much about, you know, US history and politics, and I just learned so much, and it opened my mind so much. And she also writes with such a clear voice, like an unbiased voice. Have you been waiting? You should know this is going to be on this list. The Six of Crows duology by Leigh Bardugo. I read both of these this year. I read this one early on in the year, but I wasn't like blown away like how I was with the second book. The second book, honestly, is just, it's carved a path. It's drawn a line where I'm going to hold books, what standard I'm going to hold books to, because it was incredible. It follows six, literally it says in the front, 6 dangerous outcasts, and in the first book they're pulling off this impossible heist to get rich, seemingly. That's like all they want, and they get betrayed by this person, and then you end up in Crooked Kingdom. The characters are incredible. It follows an incredibly diverse and funny, a lovable cast of characters, even though, you know, some of them have done some unsavory things, might be a little bit bad. You can't not love them. It's exciting. I was on the edge of my seat all the time. The characters are funny, their relationships are incredible, and you really root for them. I don't mean just like romantic relationships, I just mean the relationships everyone has with each other, the friendships, the bonds that are built, especially throughout the second book. There are characters of color, and gay characters, a disabled character, a character with a learning disability, a character who's battling drug addiction in the second book, characters with PTSD. It's just so riddled with real people. Leigh Bardugo does such an incredible job of writing everything in so that it's just there and it flows seamlessly. Okay. These are my favorite things of, oh look, they all match too. White, black, and red spines. I did not notice that. That's beautiful. It's kind of a mixed bag. I do have kind of a lot of fantasy in there, which I never thought I would, because I had so many problems with YA fantasy this year, but the fantasy that's done right just hit it out of the park for me. I want to mention some honorable mentions. Where are they? Humans of New York Stories by Brandon Stanton. This is the book from the Humans of New York, like Instagram, Facebook page, whatever. And it's, you know, Humans of New York, but in a book. And I read this when I was sick I think in January or February, and it just helped me so much to not feel so sorry for myself. I love people, and I think it's just incredible. And I haven't read the original one, so I need to pick that up. This is exactly what everyone needs to read to exercise their empathy and their acceptance. So many people and their stories all in one book, and it's wonderful. It's wonderful. I'm editing this video and I realized I left out Overview by Benjamin Grant. This book takes inspiration from the Daily Overview Instagram account run by Benjamin Grant, where he stitches together images taken from satellites to make these incredible images of Earth. Writes little, I'm gonna hit myself in the head, writes little blurbs about everything, and it's just really incredible. It just blows my mind. Besides the fact that it's just gorgeous, it really is insightful and interesting, and it's divided into 9 different chapters, like where we harvest, where we design, where we live, where we play, where we waste, where we are not. When you see anything from an overview from above, it always gives you a better idea of what's actually going on there. And so this really gives you an idea of humans' impact on Earth, especially in the chapters like where we extract and where we waste, and it made me terrified and inspired at the same time, and it's really gorgeous. So I had to mention it. That is the end of this video. Do we have any of the same favorites? Thank you so much for watching, and I will be back with another video soon. Bye.